Hello, hello. I'm going to show you guys how I make my vanilla paste. So vanilla paste is really good for anything that you want a really nice concentrated vanilla flavor out of, and it also gives you the vanilla specks in like your ice creams, your frostings, your baked goods, your creme brulees, your things like that that you really want to be able to see those vanilla specks in. That's what vanilla paste is really good for. The other thing is it's really nice for like your coffees and teas and things like that if you want a really nice little sweet vanilla taste to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got 7.5 ounces of already extracted vanilla beans. So these are beans that I've already extracted from. I've just been keeping them on the side, waiting to make more paste from. That's the upside to vanilla beans, you guys, is you can use them all the way through. Like you don't throw them away. Never throw your bean away. My extracts that I sell, I put a small piece of vanilla bean in. Number one, so that it keeps extracting for you. Number two, so that you can use that vanilla bean once you're done with your extract. So anyway, I've got my blender here. Always make sure you have a high powered blender. So I'm going to and I chop these up into smaller pieces so that hopefully they will grind a little faster. So the whole thing goes in there. You can use powdered vanilla powder. So if you take vanilla beans and you dehydrate them down, they chop up into a powder, a really nice fine powder. Again, something you can add to your bakes, your whatever, right? So you can use the powdered vanilla beans in this as well. You can use just the husks of the vanilla bean, like without the caviar inside it. You can use fresh vanilla beans. You can use extracted vanilla beans. However you want to do it, there's different weights for each one though. And then we're going to take a half a cup of brown sugar, put that in there. We're going to take a quarter of a cup of honey. Now I use local, raw, unfiltered honey. Put that in there. And then I use, so this is going to be 14 ounces of alcohol. So I use rum. I like rum in my extracts the most. Oh, it's whatever you're comfortable with. Some people use vodka. Some people use Everclear. You just have to make sure you proof that down because you don't want to go more than on paste. You don't want to go more than 90 proof. So this happens to be the rum that I mixed with what was left over in my blender from my last paste that I made. And I just put it into a mason jar and stuck it in the fridge. So I'm just going to use that because that's been flavoring really nicely. So I'm going to pour that in here. So you're going to pour that alcohol in with your thing. I'm going to stir this up because this has a bunch of vanilla caviar at the bottom of it. Add that to it. It's going to go on, and this is going to blend. Oops, wrong way. This is going to blend for at least a couple of minutes until this is nice. All of those beans and those pods are well blended and chewed up. So here we go. I'm going to start out slow and then I'm going to take it up. All right, so I have the Pampered Chef cooking blender. So it'll do everything from regular blends, smoothies. You can make alternate milks, soups, heated purees, jam sauces, all that kind of stuff. You can just grind stuff up. It has its own washing cycle on it. I really love it. It's my favorite thing. You don't have to have it. So here's what I did. I put everything in except for the xanthan gum. I put it on grind. That went for 2.5 minutes. That way it ground up all those beans really, really good. but the sugars were still very granulated. So what I do is I then put it on a heated puree and I heat it up to about 170 degrees and let all of those sugars melt. You don't have to do that. You can just stick it in your jars as is and the sugars will melt on their own. However, since I'm going to jar them and sell them right away, I want to make sure those are already melted into the paste. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the xanthan gum to this. And what that does is it just thickens it up a little bit. That way it's not so runny. You don't have to do this, but it will be runnier and you will need to stir it. Some of my older ones, you do have to stir them because it will settle, but this will just make sure that it stays very consistent. I'm just going to do a quick, I'm going to take my half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cool down a little bit because I don't want to put this, it's hot, it's about 170 degrees, into my jars with it being this hot. So I will come back when it cools down a little bit and I'll jar it up. Well, guess what? I forgot to turn my microphone on when I did this. So I'm going to do a voiceover of this part. So these are just 4-ounce mason jars, quilted mason jars that I have. So I'm just pouring these in now that the paste is cooled down. It's nice and thick. So I'm just filling these up to, and leaving about an inch of headspace on it, half an inch of headspace, just to give it a little room to expand. But it looks like I did get a little more. So I just scraped out the insides to finish off the rest of it. I did have to get a scraper just to get the rest of it out of here. So I'm going to scrape out as much as I possibly can because I don't obviously want to waste a bit of this yummy stuff. So these are now all filled up. I will put the lids and rings on them, put my labels on them, and they will be ready to go. I will leave them on the counter for a little while to make sure they are totally and completely cooled off before I tighten down the lids. So if you have any questions, let me know and I will answer anything I can. God bless. Have a great night, guys. Bye.